So, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Christopher Snyder. I build AI automations and workflows for businesses. And for today's build, where we're going to be hopping into is something a little bit unique I built as well. Haven't seen a workflow quite like this on YouTube as well or across the web, but I thought this workflow would be of a lot of value to any business. So, just thought about it, and I just think about these ideas and workflows that I think that are a little bit outside of the box that people just quite haven't gotten to yet, but I still think are just so valuable for any business to have, and would actually just in real time just provide real results that are that just provide so much value to this person's business. So with that being said, for today's build, what we're going to be hopping into is a competitor copy intelligence workflow. So basically what the main function of what this whole workflow is going to do is basically, so whatever copy you need for your business, right? So whether it's going to be copy for your website, copy for your advertising or email marketing, or your organic content that you do post for social media. Basically what this whole workflow is going to accomplish is basically just extracting data from the top competitors as well, and also taking data from your business as well, but also extracting data from the top competitors within your specific niche as well. And it's going to take that data and then generate you customized templates. And basically, you don't have to, input these templates like just as is. If there are certain changes you do want to make to them as well to just make it a little bit more unique, you can also do that as well. But this is just basically the main function of what this is supposed to do is it's just going to save you so much time in the long run, so you don't have to worry about whether this specific type of copy works better, or does this specific type of copy work better. You wouldn't have to waste time on paying copywriters as well, um, because I know how expensive some copywriters can get for businesses as well. But this would just save you so much time on top of that, and also money as well. So you wouldn't have to worry about whether your copy is working or not, because we're already extracting data from the top competitors as well. So you're not going to have to worry about whether it to prove its functionality, if it really is that worth it or not. But, with all that being said, let's hop into this workflow. So hopping into this workflow here, so we have our initial webhook start trigger. So basically, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Every time, you want to manually click on the workflow to execute it. So basically, it's just going to be your initial trigger for, whenever you want to start the workflow. You would just click play on this initial webhook start trigger. Pretty simple stuff. Same thing with, my other workflows as well. But then we're going to move on to our next step of the process. So we have this input function. Basically what it's going to do is extract your user data, but basically what you would like to input into this function specifically is your business name, the niche that you're in, your target audience that you're trying to reach. But also one other thing that I do highly recommend putting into this function as well, just so we do have more data to work with, is input your unique selling points that you do have for your business. So if you are a business, right, and you have your competitors, right, and you have something unique about your business, and that is just so much better of a selling point than you already have and is already proven as well for your business, please input that data into here as well, because I promise you it will make this workflow just work so much better for you, because we're not only just going to be scraping copy from obviously the top competitors within your niche, but you're also taking the best data within your business as well and inputting that into this workflow as well. So we're not just scraping competitors copy for competitor copy sake. We're also taking data from your specific business as well and identifying your unique selling points and points that have already been proven to work as well, and taking that data and also inputting it into these copy functions as well. So we're also taking your ideas and your ideas that you sell better on than most businesses, and we're inputting that data into these into this workflow, so we can have our copy functions also input your unique user data into this as well. So that's why I really highly recommend putting your unique selling points, and like I said, selling points that have been proven to work for your business. And I promise you, it will just make this workflow so much better, because I know there are so many businesses out there that do have unique selling points and do have really creative ways of, you know, unique selling points that just, are optimized for conversions so much better and convert so much better than other websites in the first place compared to their competitors. So we're also just taking your unique ideas as well that have been proven to work as well, and also inputting it into this workflow as well. So I just really, really wanted to touch on that. So it's not just, scraping competitors' copy for, just the sake of that, but we're also just taking unique data from your website as well that has been proven to work, and taking that idea and implementing it into this workflow as well. And then we're going to be, so for, just for example's sake, so we're just going to be moving our way from, the top of the workflow all the way down to the bottom, just going through each and every function, just so, we don't get all, tangled up for me trying to explain this workflow. But basically, we're going to start at the top here. So we have our check website copy function. So basically what this specific if function is going to do is, it's just going to be responsible for, it already has the function in place. So it's just going to check the website copy for your top performing competitors within your niche. And so then it's going to go into our webhook or search web trigger. So basically what this is going to do is research your website competitors. But I have it personally set. So obviously, after we have our scrape competitor website 1 and scrape competitor website 2. But basically, so why I have that is within this function, I just have it so, we're taking data from the top performing competitors in your niche. And so this is going to scrape the web for, the top performing competitors, and it's going to move its way down the list from, the best performing websites. So basically, more so websites with the most visitor attention. And basically, it's going to move its way down the list from, from basically 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So basically, like, whenever you do click on, the initial start of this webhook trigger in the first place, basically you're not just going to be repeating the same websites over and over and over again. You're constantly going to be extracting new data from new competitors as well. But more so just moving its way from the top of the list to the bottom, and just extracting data from all of those top competitors within your niche. So, you don't have to worry about like whether this website is valid as far as, conversions go, if they really do perform that well. This specific function for this research website competitors is just going to be automatically, working its way down a list from the top performing competitors within your niche and moving its way down that list. So that's the way I have this specific function to be inputted. I highly recommend it to be inputted like that as well, if you haven't already, because then it's just going to be researching just random websites that are within your niche, and if you have it inputted like that, then you're not getting, the exact right data that you do need. So just, want to throw that out there, just for specific functionality case. But with that being said, we're going to move on to our next step. So we have our scrape compare website 1, scrape compare website 2. Obviously pretty self-explanatory, just taking, the data or the website copy from, the previous function, and, just scraping for that specific data in the first place. Then it's going to go into our ChatGPT function. And this is basically just going to be generating its own specific copy template. So basically, based off of the previous user data that you do have, or that you did input into this extract user data function earlier, basically that's also going to be implemented into this generate website copy example, and also taking the information and data from the website copy of your top performing competitors as well. And then it's also going to be taking that data into consideration as well when generating these new templates in the first place. So that's the way that first workflow is going to work. So we're going to move our way down to the next. All right, so heading into the next section of this workflow. So we have our check advertising copy function. So basically what this is going to do is, just, have it inputted. So, we're just specifically just looking to extract the advertising copy, from our top performing competitors. So we have then it's going to move on to our research Facebook ads function and our research Google ads function. And you can input this, so you can also research, the specific competitors like TikTok ads, Instagram ads. It doesn't have to be, just these two, but I just had this inputted for example's sake. But we have our research Facebook ads function. So basically this is just going to be, just only extracting the competitor's copy from that specific advertisement, and also from the Google ads as well. So we're only, like I said, we're only extracting the copy. We're not extracting anything else. We're just extracting the top performing ads within that specific platform that they are advertising on in the first place. And it's just basically going to be taking the top performing. So it's not going to be, so it's going to be a little bit different from the website competitors because, obviously, most of the website competitors may not be, running ads on that specific platform. But we're just going to be taking the top performing ads within your specific niche, and also the target audience as well. So that's why, I just want to put that out there. So it could be, different companies. It's just based on, who are the top performing competitors on that specific platform within your specific niche. So basically, we're just going to be taking the data from, that. So basically, whatever the ad data that is, within that specific website. So whether you do want to look for, your competitors' TikTok ads, or Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, etc. Basically, it's just going to be looking to extract the copy from that specific advertisement. And then it's going to move on to our generate advertising copy function. So our chat GPT function. And basically, obviously, we're taking the unique selling points that you do have from earlier from our extract user data. So obviously, if you do have unique selling points that are better than your other competitor as well. So it's also going to be taking that data into consideration as well. And also taking the data from obviously, the top competitors on these specific platforms that you do want inputted, and basically taking that into consideration as well when it is customizing these specific templates just for you and you only. So yep, so that's going to be it for that specific section. So let's work on to the next. So moving into our next section of the workflow here. So we have our check email copy function. So obviously, pretty self-explanatory, just checking, for email copy data specifically. So that's just, what that function is for. Then we're going to be moving on to our next step. So we have our research email campaigns web function. And basically here, so it is really, really difficult to get, obviously a hold of any email marketing campaigns. So I have the SERP API function here. So, but this isn't going to be too viable, because it's only going to be extracting, public data, from that specific competitor's website, just like any public data about their email marketing, for example. So it's not really too viable because, you're not getting, the exact data within their specific email marketing copy, for example. So that's why, this probably isn't the best idea. Having a SERP API function here to, just search the web just, for any public email information, because you're not getting exact data that you do need. With that being said, there are other platforms out there that I would highly recommend you to implement into here as well. So, no need to worry. But, I know some of these platforms, you do have to pay for. So like mail charts, for example, you can analyze, your competitors' email marketing from that specific website function. But I'm pretty sure they do have, like paid plans as well. So it is going to cost a little bit, but I don't think it's anything too crazy. I think it's like $10 a month or something like that. I'm not sure. But like I said, so you would have to use a paid platform. I wouldn't highly recommend. You can use the SERP API function to just, get public data about their email marketing from your specific competitors, for example, but I wouldn't highly recommend it. So that's why I would use inputting here instead. Like I said, mail charts, for example, because they do share, competitors' data from their specific email marketing campaigns as well. So I would highly recommend inputting that into here. Like I said, if you do just want, public information, from your specific competitors' email marketing copy, for example, then that's okay. So like I said, it's just really up to preference. If you really want to get really a lot more in depth, I would highly suggest, paying for mail charts and having inputted that into here as well. Or if you're just A1, okie doke with just having your SERP API function just to search public data, that's also fine as well. So we're going to be moving on to our next step. So we have generate email copy. So obviously, whatever data that it is extracted from the previous function, and also from your extract user data function as well. So obviously, taking your unique selling points into consideration, and also any public data from, the research email campaigns function, for example. And also, if you do have mail charts implemented to this as well, then it could really go in depth into analyze your competitors' copy for their email marketing. So that's gonna be it for that function. So let's move on to the next. So moving on to our next function here. So we have our check organic copy function. So basically pretty self-explanatory. I mean, just only extracting organic copy from your top competitors, for example, and that's just going to be it for that function. So let's move on to our research Instagram content web function, and also our research TikTok content function. And basically, obviously, what this is going to do is research the top performing content creators within your specific niche that you are in. So basically, it's just going to be taking data from the top companies that do post organic content onto these websites. So you can also implement Facebook into this as well. It doesn't have to be, just Instagram and TikTok in the first place. But like I said, I would highly recommend, also implementing other websites into this workflow as well. So you're not just only, extracting from, excuse me, but so you're not only just extracting data from, only like two specific functions, for example, but you're also taking, all sorts of data into consideration as well. So that's why so basically what this is going to do is implement, the top performing businesses on those specific platforms, researching, the top performing posts that they do have within their specific profile, and then also taking that data into consideration as well. So with that being said, then it's going to move on to our ChatGPT function, our generate organic copy function. And obviously, it's going to be taking your unique user data as well, compiling it with, top performing businesses and companies on, these platforms on Instagram or TikTok. And it's just going to be taking data. So obviously, the captions, for example, like specific hashtags that they do have, what the content of their specific posts that they do have, for example, or also videos as well, is they're also going to be extracted from, that specific web trigger as well. But yeah, that's going to be it for that function. So let's move on to the next. And so moving into our last little final segment within this workflow. So obviously, we have our compile final output function, basically just going to be, your last summary. Basically everything that's generated from these 4 different chat GPT functions, and basically taking all that data and compiling it into one final summary, just all in one place. So you have your generate website copy in one place, advertising copy, email copy, and also your organic content copy as well. And then it's also going to be saved into our PostgreSQL database. So you do have, a secondary, backup in case you ever do want to extract data from your database as well. You can also extract that from your PostgreSQL database as well if you just want to have it on standby. And then for our final trigger, so we have our webhook response, and this is just basically going to send it to your webhook and the compilation of your final summary, and just sending it back to your initial webhook trigger. And yeah, with that being said, that's going to be in this video. Hope you all enjoyed this workflow. Hopefully it was a very useful to you as well. But like I said, the main unique thing to making this workflow really stand out and get the most use out of it is this initial extract user data function. That's why I would highly recommend focusing on, for the most part, implementing as many functions as you need to within this specific user data function. And like I said, implementing your unique selling points. If there's anything unique about your business that and has been proven to work as well, that is better than your competitors, and just something that just converts so well for your specific website, please input that into this function, because I promise you it will be an absolute game changer in this workflow. So, we're just taking all sorts of data into consideration, and not just, top performing competitors within your niche, but also taking the best data from your specific website as well and implementing that into this workflow as well. So you're just getting the best copy from, all sorts of data that has been, implemented. So, you do not feel left out of any, data that could be possibly implemented. You are literally getting every single piece of data that you could have, and also the best quality as well. So yeah, with that being said, that's gonna be this video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you want something like this implemented into your business as well, which I would personally highly recommend, it saves so much time. You don't have to go out looking for copywriters as well. I do have my business email down in the description below. But yeah, with that being said, it's going to be in this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I will see you all in the next video.